All right, everyone, welcome back into another PGA DFS video. Going to be getting to the Shriners Hospital Open. Gosh, I still butchered. I mean, they shortened the name for us, and I still can't get it right, from the Shriners Children's Hospitals Championship. But, you know, it's going to be played at the same course here, TPC Summerlin, which, you know, Las Vegas, Nevada. We know what this course is going to play like, which is nice, but we also know, kind of just based off of history, that this is a very high variance tournament. We see players that have, well, we don't really see that many players have good course history. We see players have good results, but also we see random miscuts out of players as well at this tournament. So it is going to be a much higher variance week, but we also get a much higher caliber of field. So we are going to see some players, I think, throughout the start of this PGA season that are kind of world-class players trying to get some early starts on in the year, trying to gain those FedEx Cup points. So maybe it's not as high variance of a week as it, you know, historically has been, but we just know PGA DFS at the start of the season is, you know, pretty high variance. Looking back at last week, for a perfect example, we had 4 players in the player pool, top 12 in the player pool, with a chance to win on Sunday. 2 outright bets with Aaron Wise and Cameron Tringale, who eventually choked. But then Sam Burns as well, the 12th rated player in the 9-5 player pool, you know, pretty much the best play on the board, and he was priced that way. He went out and won. You know, that's kind of the thing with early season DFS. It's like you can pinpoint the good plays. It's very hard to distinguish the bad plays. And I think that's just due to early season variance. I know, you know, for me personally, when I go off, going back to that example, it's like, you know, you're a little bit less consistent with your golf game at the start of the year than you are at the end of the year, at the middle of the year. And there is kind of just that natural reset. So, you know, just kind of something to look at. Going to be a higher variance week, and we'll get into the course details for you here right now. So let's looking at it. We got it pulled up here on the 9-5 page. You're going to sort it by the Shriners. After this week, I will change it to the updated name, the shortened name, but we're going to keep it like this for now for data purposes. So we can see TPC Southern Nevada. It's a TPC style course. It has been an easier scoring event, -7, -5, -3 for the cuts. And then 1 was another one, but the weather was kind of more difficult there, hard scoring. So we can see most likely it's going to be easy scoring event here, guys, with the win and score being in the, you know, 20 under range. It is kind of just a normal length course, which kind of interesting there. Bobby Wayne design, Bermuda fairways with the fairway length of 25, a little bit smaller than normal. Greens are going to be bent greens. So that'll be something that we will look at, you know, different greens from last week. Green speeds vary from 11 to 12 over the years thus far. Green size. The greens are a little bit bigger here. So we can see, one, that strokes gained approach is going to be key. You set yourself up for some birdie tries. That's going to be huge. And then maybe 3-putt avoidance is a stat you could possibly look at. We do see rough acreage is a little bit bigger there at 90 acres. Rough length, pretty normal. Lots of bunkers, not that many hazards. Don't have to worry about that too much. But just looking at the key stats then, we can, you know, see very easily the standout key stat here is birdie or better percentage. Obviously, strokes gained total is always going to be up there, but birdie or better percentage in an easy scoring event, we always see that typically is that birdie or better percentage is going to be one of the key stats, and you know that's what this data is showing us. You got to be targeting players that are going to score, okay? And then you could also do that by factoring in par 5 scoring as well. Look at the distinction here between players that finish top 10. Just looking at par 4 scoring and par 5 scoring, that tells me that yes, you need to be able to go out and score on par 5s. And look at people that missed the cut. They weren't scoring on par 5s. That is a very good indication there that yes, you need to be scoring on par 5s. And then strokes gained approach, that's kind of the next one that somewhat stood out to me, especially when looking at players that won. Players that won had a statistical advantage in strokes gained approach, as well as, you know, players that finished top 10. So definitely some interesting stuff there. Strokes gained tee to green, not really a surprise there. And then ball striking. We see ball striking much more over total driving. So look at this. Driving distance doesn't really matter here, okay? And that kind of makes sense based on, well, it doesn't make sense with Bryson winning, but that was back when he was not long. Kevin Na, Martin Laird, those aren't exactly long guys. This is a course. This is a second shot course. good drive percentage. You do want to be setting yourself up with good shots from the fairways to set yourself up for a good approach game. Okay, so we're going to be looking at ball striking instead of total driving this week. And I do want to mention, it is going to be an easy scoring tournament. So one thing you guys can do is use the custom model tool, go down to scoring, and instead, just factor by scoring. Just based off of that, we can see these are the players that would be the top players in the field just based off of scoring over the last 365 days. If we wanted to shorten that up to, the last 3 months, we could do that as well. Not everyone's going to have as much data on that, but we can see Luke List popping up there, Hank Leviota popping up there, Ryan Moore, Adam Schenk. A little bit skewed just due to kind of recency, I guess, if you will. But we'll go back to, a year, get the full picture. We can see, though, Willie Z, Joaquin Neiman popping up there, Matthew Wolff. So I kind of gave Matthew Wolff a lot of shit and people that were betting him last week. And, it's kind of one of those, I mentioned it. It's kind of like one of those things where if you bet Matthew Wolff, you kind of always bet a player like Matthew Wolff where the odds are pretty good. You're betting on him coming back to his mean eventually. And this would be the tournament that I'd much rather bet on him than last week. We can see just long term he could get there. And then I don't mind the bounce back for Seamus Power as well. But let's just streamline the key stats here real quick. And now I'll get into the cheat sheet like I always do. So let's just look at birdie or better percentage because obviously that's what we care about the most. Strokes gained approach. Then we'll just go place as well because those are going to be the most key stats for us. We can see Willie Z. Wow, Kevin Kisner popping up there as well. Did not see that coming. That's a little bit shocking to me. On easy courses, Kevin Kisner goes out and scores. That is something to pay attention to. Corey Connor, Seamus Power popping up there again. So I think Seamus Power could be a nice bounce back play. Cameron Tringale, Matthew Wolff, Doug Gim, Russell Henley all popping up there as well. So, just some names to look at. And I do want to mention, we are at the part of the season in which the cheat sheet data has switched over to the 2022 season. So some of the players here, like Brooks Koepka, are not going to have all their data in there, okay? Now, it's still going to be kind of set up for them to be statistically right because we're bringing in other data on the back end, just like secondary stats and whatnot. But for this, page here, you're not going to see all those stats popping up. Cuts you're going to see and whatnot, but it's just kind of when the data is switching over on PGA Tour. That's what we use. If you guys want to see the full picture of a player, you can go to the custom models page. But just looking at guys, this week, I don't mind players in this range, but this is kind of what I mean about this tournament. Look at Abraham Answer here, guys. Abraham Answer, great course history, ? Fourth, miscut. That's kind of how it goes. Let's look at Webb Simpson as well. Webb Simpson has made the cut in his last 6 starts, but hey, Webb isn't exactly the best stat fit because, well, he kind of struggled down the stretch. The Fortinet Championship, 30th, that's only okay. Great course history here, though. It's like, where do we want to go on these guys? Looking at Scotty Scheffler, looking at Hideki, looking at Harris English. I love Harris English. 2 miscuts and a made cut. Like, it is a difficult week. So for me, I might just go like kind of a safe approach, if you will. We know Louis Oosthuizen is a safe golfer. Okay, he's made 13 straight cuts in a row. We'd love to see that. When he played this tournament last year, had top 19 place finish. We know who Louis Oosthuizen is as a player. He's a strong strokes gained approach type of player. So he's a golfer that I like this week. It's both safe and, probably should present some upside for you. And then going a little bit lower, I do also like Sungjae Im. Sungjae Im's golf game is just in a very consistent spot right now. Okay, he's had 2 top 15 finishes here in the last 4 years. He's played well the last few weeks. I just like him as a pick. Just looking at him, his golf game's all coming together again. So yeah, Sungjae Im I do like as a play this week. And then call me crazy, I don't want to pay this high of a price point for Kevin Na, and I really don't think that we should. But he had been in some strong recent form prior to his miscut at the Fortinet Championship. 3rd, 17th, 8th, 2nd. This is one of those where he could miss the cut or he could top 10. I don't love it, but I can see a path where, some people want to get on him. And then just closing out this range, I mentioned Willie Z a couple of times. If you guys want to, he'd be the player that I would pay up for if you can get there. 10.1 is a lot to pay up for him, but just really kind of checking all the boxes for us. I think he's going to be a strong play. 87% chance to make the cut. This should be a really good course for Will Zalatoris there. Now we're going to drop down into that mid-tier price point range. Now this price point range is absolutely loaded with quality plays. I think that most of your builds should be coming from this price point range, but kind of like Aaron Wise and Cameron Tringale last week, where I really like them because they're checking all the boxes, top 30 in model or in stat rank, course history rank, recent form rank, which typically just means 3 made cuts in a row at the tournament and on the tour, and also a top 30 stat fit. Well, we don't really get that with anyone at all. Like Corey Connors here, 68th place finish. That's his best start here, and a miscut. Pretty good stat fit, top 15 stat fit. He does rank out well in strokes gained approach, ball striking, pretty better percentage. We'd love to see that. 6 straight made cuts in a row, played well last week. Just, you don't feel comfortable that these players here that I'm going to be on don't have good course history. Jason Kokrak, another one of those guys, think he's going to be a strong play, just not good course history. I like Cameron Tringale. I like going back to the well with him. I'm perfectly fine with that, but we're going to go a little bit lower here now. Paul Casey. Paul Casey has just been in such strong recent form really over the past year or so now. Now, we didn't play all too well in the playoffs, but, 8 straight make cuts in a row. This should be a good course for him. Has to at least putt decent, though. That's going to be the worry with him. Does typically putt a little bit better on bank greens, though, so we got that going for him. And then just going down a little bit lower here, guys. Call me crazy, but Matthew Wolff I actually do like. 2nd and 18th place finish. I think he's just a much better play this week. It was good signs from him last week. I kind of put out a Twitter post. I think it was on Sunday. It's like people that bet Matthew Wolff last week are saying, hey, he was one good round away from really being or one bad round away from being in contention to win on Sunday. Where on the flip side, you would say, it's his recent form is the reason why, he wasn't a good outright bet. It's that reason that it's kind of expected that he would have some inconsistencies in his golf game, which led to that one bad round. I'm not saying that bad round is not going to be there again, but we just kind of hope and pray that it doesn't occur again in the first 2 rounds pretty much to cause a miscut like it almost did last week. So Matthew Wolff, I do like as a play this week as well. Good signs from him. Don't like those 2 miscuts at the end of the season, but good start for him at the Sanderson Farms. And then just the last play here is going to be Joaquin Niemann as well. Joaquin Niemann, 2 top 15 place finishes here, as well as a miscut. Don't love that once again, but strong recent form. He's a guy that just should be able to make the cut. He does typically, take advantage of par 5s, typically makes a ton of birdies. So yeah, Joaquin Niemann I do like as well. Now we're going to drop down into that low tier price point range, that 7K price point range. And that we're just going to go with 2 players that we were on last week, both Mito and Aaron Wise. So Aaron Wise has, just been playing some great golf. Really just gained a bunch of top 30 finishes in a row. He couldn't close it out last week, really choked on Sunday, and that might be a mental hurdle for him as well. That's kind of the worry with some of these players I'm going to be on, as well as I'll pull him up here as well. Maverick McNeely. He's coming off of a tournament in which he probably, I don't want to say probably should have won, but he could have won. That's going to be the worry with him. He's a great play. But I always worry about these guys coming off of events in which they kind of choked on Sunday. It's fine if they played well and didn't win, but it's when they kind of choke and don't win. That's where I start to worry about them. But, these 3 players here, Mito's been playing some great golf. He's going to be able to score on this course. Maverick McNeely just been a stud for the past 3 months now. And then Aaron Wise just playing quality golf. I like all 3 options a lot this week. Then we're going to go down pretty much to the low end of the low tier price run range on Troy Merritt. So Troy Merritt's a guy that can really always score. And if you guys have been following me for quite some time, I always kind of favor Troy Merritt. He went to the same school as I did in college for a year before he transferred up. Good for him. But 4 straight made cuts at this tournament. I'm coming off of a 16th place finish. We're not too far removed from the heartbreak of having him in 100-1 where he didn't win in the playoff. That still kind of gets me. And gosh, the whole Cameron Davis thing, that was just brutal. But yeah, we're not that far removed from that, okay? Now, yes, the Open Championship, didn't expect him to play well. Kind of a bummer that he didn't play well at the John Deere Classic. Northern Trust, just he didn't have it going with his approach game. That's kind of where he lives and dies. It's like one day his approach game's on, one day it's not. So we're hoping that that's going to be the case this week, although he should put well. He should take advantage of this course. Not something we want to go crazy with, but good sign that he's made 4 straight cuts here in a row. Now we get down into the value tier. My biggest regret last week was really not anyone in the player pool. It was the player that wasn't in it. That's Roger Sloan. So if you guys have been watching my videos for quite some time, that I've been on Roger Sloan a decent amount. had him on the Wyndham Championship, had him at the 3M Open where, both weeks he was in contention to win and couldn't get it done on Sunday. I think he had 2 missed cuts in a row and then came back. The missed cut at the Fortinet Championship wasn't that bad. 75th in strokes gained total. That's not horrible. Played really well last week, 8th in strokes gained approach. So if we can get something like that again from him, it's going to be a great week. And obviously, his strokes gained approach at the Wyndham Championship was 13th there. So when he does that, that's really gearing up the rest of his game there. So yeah, Roger Sloan going to be a high risk, I guess, high reward type of play. But I kind of love the fact that he gives us that upside. It does seem like he's back mentally once again from not being able to convert those wins. And I think he's going to be a good play for us. Chad Ramey, I do like as a play, just kind of 5% type ownership. I think he's going to be able to go out and make the cut. And then just throwing out some other names. Adam Schenk. So Adam Schenk did miss the cut last week, but he kind of, I don't want to say he did what you want him to do, but he kind of did. Adam Schenk is one of those plays where you kind of play him because more likely than not, he's going to make the cut. It's not going to be anything spectacular, but it's going to be right around the cut. I kind of see that from him again. He does have 3 top 30 finishes or better here with 1 missed cut. That 1 missed cut wasn't horrible though. So, he missed the cut on the number there. So I could see Adam Schenk going out and playing well here. He didn't play horrible last week, just, didn't end up making the cut. And then the last play here, I don't mind Denny McCarthy. I don't mind Adam Hadwin. There's just a bunch of decent names there. I'm not even going to bother with Scott Pierce, who had one of the worst putting weeks ever. That was just brutal. But you guys kind of get it. There's a bunch of quality plays at each price point range, and it's going to be difficult to establish correct exposures. It's going to be easy to narrow down the player pool. It's going to be difficult to get the correct exposures, and this could be a week in which you kind of just spread it out, spread the wealth, get your 4 or 5 players in that high tier price point range that you really love, and then just spread it out from there. But that's all I have for you guys this week. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a like, subscribe. If you guys want to join 9to5 Nation and use all the tools here, $10 a month, best value in PGA DFS. All right, I'm out. Oh man, I have to switch hands for this. And as always, let's keep cashing. This is going to be difficult. I didn't think this through. All right, there we go. Oh, it didn't even end recording. Gotta think that.